Oh, wow. Good thing I get to edit this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
I love that.
All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, or welcome to Orange County's very own. I'm your host and grateful to be Makai Louie, and I got my boy, guest on the show today, Mr. Roy Saucedo. How we feeling, man? Happy New Year.
I'm
first
feeling
and
good.
foremost, to everybody else, too.
Happy to be here. Feel honored. I'm ready to have a good time.
Let's go, man. Love the hat, by the way. Go
Yes.
Angels. Go Halos.
On purpose. OC, baby.
That's it, baby.
There we go.
Repping. Just to kick this off, man, as usual, just going to go into a quick intro really quick. This episode is sponsored by none other than Mr. Lava Hot Sauce. This is my family's hot sauce as well. I'll hype it up all day, but Mr. Lava Hot Sauce, you can get it online. Our boy Roy Saucedo created the website itself.
Yes, sir.
And he did an amazing job. So go check it out. Go see what he's up to and go see what Mr. Lava's up to. You won't be disappointed.
Ooh.
Wow, look
There
at
you
that.
go. Dude.
Almost threw it at the camera.
He's bringing the heat today.
But yeah, without further ado, guys, Happy New Year. Most people that are going to see this, because we have some episodes to get out, probably going to be seeing this closer to end of Q1. So if that's the case, we're full bore ahead into the new year. It's 2022. Feeling really good. What things are you looking forward to this year in 2022? You got a lot going on.
I do. This has been a very eventful, like the last part of 2021 was super eventful.
Mm-hmm.
This year, getting married.
Woo!
Dude,
Putting a ring on it, baby.
I put a ring on it, so
Yeah.
we're gonna do that. That'll be fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Let's
That's huge, but business stuff. I got some business goals that I want to hit.
Yeah, tell the people who you are. Let's do a little intro and then
all right.
That's my fault.
No,
I went into what you got.
Hey,
going on.
I purposely bridged that. I threw that in there because I wanted to. No, I'm just kidding. But so yeah, my name's Roy Sauce. You can call me Roy Sauce. And yeah, I run I'm a web designer by trade.
Mm-hmm.
Done a lot of different stuff in the past, but that's kind of what I've settled on right now, and I enjoy doing it. It's super fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I run a business called Saucedo, where we make websites, amongst other things, but that's kind of what we focus on right now.
Very
so this year I have some shifting from doing mostly just websites done for you to creating products for people. That's all I'm going to give for now, because that's really all we have planned. Cool. But keep follow me on social media.
Yeah. Plug them up.
We'll have that in the stuff. Roy A. Saucedo. That's where all my stuff is. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the story how I got there is I don't know if you want to get into that right
Absolutely.
now, but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that.
I was gonna ask obviously Sauce Studio is part of your last name, but where did the idea of switching over to web design? Talk about what you were doing before too, because it plays a whole role into who you are today. Take us through the journey into getting into Sauce Studios.
Yeah, so it started when I was 5. No, just fine.
I was like, we going wait.
No. But let's see. So I went to school for I guess you could start it before that. It was I worked at a church, the Cause Church in Brea, represent.
Yeah.
That's where I met.
I've been there.
That's where I met Austin. That's I got connected to you guys. It was through that. We could talk about that later, but that was a huge, working there was a huge part of my life that kind of set me on.
They're getting that initial experience, that field experience.
Yeah, honestly, if you're trying to get into anything, if you're connected to a church and if you're trying to get into anything creative, it's the perfect place to practice and get experience to because when you do anything creative, the biggest part is showing it to people and then getting feedback on it, and
that's right.
That feeling of releasing stuff into the universe or whatever is huge. And so the more times you can get practice doing that, it helps you get confidence. And so the church is a really good place to do that, because
that's right.
They'll one, there's always opportunity, and two, it's most of the time there's people there that are have done it, and so you can learn from them. And so started there. I started working at the church when I was 20. I just turned 20. And so at the time I was going to school at Cal State Fullerton. I was studying communications.
Nice.
And so
The Titans
represent have very little school spirit, but I still rep it. Now I rep UCI too because I went there too. But I
Gotta rep it all, baby.
gotta rep it all. OC though, only OC.
only.
So, but I was studying communications. But it's like at the time, even with like communications is a cool degree, but like, are you doing anything in school that you really are gonna apply? Not really. At least my experience was like a lot of this stuff was outdated. A lot of this stuff was just kind of, I mean, you're learning like how to do a SWOT analysis. Like, all right, cool. Like, okay, like
Yeah.
all right, I could just Google this and like be done for the day. But like
For real.
so I mean, there's pros and cons of going to school, right? But
For sure.
while I was going to school, like Cal State Fullerton's a big commuter school, so you don't really get like the college experience there. You know, that's not what it's for. It's just to really get your school done and get out.
Yeah.
And so I would just go to school and then I would work at the church. So my main job there was working with the junior hires. And then I would I just said, hey, I want to do anything creative. So like if there's any like graphic design, like video, I didn't actually do any web stuff there, but like it kind of got me into like that kind of world.
Yeah.
And then like from there, I would just started releasing stuff, doing like graphics, video, and
aside from the church, is what you're saying?
Well, for the church, and then like also what birthed out of that was my first business. So my first business I started with my friends called Rough Waters.
Okay.
I actually have a tattoo on my thigh.
Do you? That's
so
hard.
if I was wearing shorts, I'd throw that thing up so I could show you guys. But that's on
just take them off.
that'll be on the OnlyFans. You guys have to pay for that. No, I'm just kidding. But so that started out of
subscriptions below.
Yes, get the plug. So out of that, we started that business with my friends, and that was like the story behind Rough Waters was by like kind of like how I became a Christian, how I met God. Was like, long story short, was like at the low point of my life at that time, like just horrible stuff was going on in my life, but just not happy with my life, and was in a swimming pool at my house. And so it was just going up and down in the water, and was like praying because like I grew up Catholic, so I knew of God, type thing, and so I was just praying to God, like God, like what's help. I just need your help. Like whatever happens, like I just give it up to you. And I had this moment of like surrender.
Yeah.
And
powerful.
Oh my gosh! And from there, I was like under the water. I was submerged. Had that moment of surrender, and then I got up out of the water. And it was like complete peace in my mind, complete, just what the situation that was going on was still present,
of course. But
like my disposition towards it was like peace,
freedom.
And so it was like, yeah, exactly, freedom. And so from that, I was like, I was shook. Yeah. And I was like excited, and I was so like I wanted to just do something.
Like that immediate spark.
Oh my God, that changed my life for sure. Like that moment, and so.
That's awesome.
That was before I was going to church, but like that experience, I just so then like literally 2 weeks later,
you answered the call, brother.
Dude, my friends hit me up from high school that they didn't go to church at the time, but they just got invited from a friend of a friend, and so they're like, "Hey, bro, like you want to come to this church thing?" Like, we just started going. I was like, "Oh." I was like, sure, like, I didn't know you guys were like that, so like, bro, I know we did, like, right. But, and so like, so they invited me. And so from there, I got super involved with the church, and me and my buddies were super involved at the same time. And so we started this business called Rough Waters, where we were just creating, and the Instagram's still up there, so you guys could check it out too. We could share that if you want, but yeah. We just created some, tees and a bunch of dope stuff.
Okay. It was like clothing line?
Clothing line, but our whole thing was like community service. Gotcha. It was like community service plus creating dope stuff. And so what we would do is we would like get a bunch of money together. We would go over here to I think it's on Catella, the park. So there's I forgot, I have to look up or remember the name of it. I think Sunkist Park or it's over here in Anaheim, but there's a park that's like known for having a lot of homeless people. Okay. And so we would get lunches together, and we would just go out there and give out the lunches and do all that kind of stuff. And so that was like so just doing that was like a cool, like making the clothing and like getting money from that was like a good excuse to do that. And so it was like super fun. And yeah, like that was kind of what first got me into like, oh, making a website, making a product. Like, what does it take to actually do this kind of stuff? Because
Yeah.
like, you know, you don't know. Like, the best way to learn something is just by like doing it.
Diving head
That's
first,
literally
right?
the best way to learn.
It
And
really is.
that's kind of like the theme of like my whole life is just like not knowing, like wanting to do something, but not knowing how to do it, and just saying, okay, well, let me just take the first step. And so that was like
So important, dude.
yeah, like that was such a good time. It's so cool talking about this because I'm like, oh, I get to relive it like, again a little bit
dude.
too. And so I was like 20 around that time, and so with that business, we ended up, we were just four friends trying to do it.
Yeah.
We were all broke college students, so it ended up just like it got to the point where we were like, like, do we want to like stress over money, or do we want to like keep our friendship? Because that it's kind of tough when you're dealing with
some tension going and whatnot.
Yeah, you're dealing with business and friends, and so it's like, okay, like we'd all decided we'd rather just be friends and just kind of go back to having fun.
Yeah. Probably smart.
It stopped being fun,
Yeah,
I guess it comes to that point. It's just like, like now we're just doing work for the sake of work. It's like, all right, let's not.
Yeah.
So which is the best. It was the best decision. And now we all got tattoos. So
that's tight.
Which
that's
is like
tight. Memories,
dude.
Nonetheless,
it's so funny.
Memories and experience. I mean,
Oh, exactly. And it's like, it's fond memories. Like at first I got the tattoo and I was like, oh, like there's a little part of you that's ashamed because it didn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so and then you definitely
see it every day.
People are polite, but you definitely get that look of like, oh, like, is it like they asked me about my tattoo? I'm like, oh, it's like a business I used to do. They're like, oh, like you don't do it anymore? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, cool. Like, they're just like, there's like, and it's like
a dead end of the conversation.
Exactly. They don't want to ask because it's like they think it's like a sore area or whatever.
Right.
Which now I look at it and I get like, for me it's inspiring because it's like that time of my life. It's like my first project, it's my first baby. So
totally.
And we did good stuff. Like I look back, I'm like, dude, if we would have continued, like it could have been something really cool. And so
sure.
There was one point I was like, oh, maybe we'll do it again. So we'll see. I don't want to close that book, but
I mean, nonetheless, I love the business model and the idea behind it. Giving back to the community.
Yeah.
It being in Orange County, it's even more of a plus.
No, that's what's funny. Like, and we just wanted to do like. It wasn't like a long meeting of like thinking, what can we do to make we were just like, bro, what's the quickest thing we could do that we could actually execute,
Yeah.
And so
where did that take you afterwards? So now Rough Waters is coming to an end. Where did that lead you into next?
Yeah. So at that time, after that, I was working in the church, and I kind of came to this point of like, I just graduated school, and I was like, okay, what do I want to, everyone has that question of like, what do they want to do with their life?
And it always seems to take to like the very last week of graduation.
You should be thinking about. Hey, shouldn't you have been thinking about this the whole time? But it's like that's so funny because, and that's why in hindsight I'm like, should I have gone to school? Because I think going to school was like a lot of. I think I just did it because I felt like I needed to do it because that's what my parents did, and it's like
outside influences were kind of helping guide that decision. And
in high school, it's like the only thing. Like that's like I felt like that was my only option. It's like, oh, like if you don't go to college, you're kind of a bum, Like that's like kind of like the thought of it. And so I wish I would have slowed down.
Yeah.
In hindsight.
Me too, man. I think about that all the time. It's really interesting. I really did enjoy my college experience after football ended, and I didn't think football was gonna end. Injury ended it.
Right.
Talked about it on the show before, but like. The experience that came afterwards was really what propelled the rest of my life. I mean, I'd probably never take my college experience back. But I never thought, like, I was going there for football.
Yeah.
I ended up getting, like, God awoken me, from wherever I was at and put me on my path, which I think allowed the experience to be a lot better. But it took me, I don't know, maybe like close to my senior year to know, or to like put one foot in front of the other to get
some kind of idea, right?
Yeah, to get out up to where I wanted to be. Now I'm best way you could say it is a corporate recruiter, and oddly enough, we're talking about universities. I'm leading the university program for our company too.
Cool.
So like just talking about. A lot of the time in my job, I career advise people. I advise them on and really just like I peel back the layers of their past. I look into their backgrounds, their experiences. When I talk to entry level individuals, people that are still in school and stuff like that, the one reoccurring theme that I've seen over the last few years has always been just obviously like the main one, which is like not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Not knowing what to do, where to go, where to start. So it's always been like, for me, I've seen it now in a few different places as I've gotten into like the university space and talking to different third parties that have programs for students to get that field experience right away, or like different things like that. But a lot of the time people don't know what they want to do. And even if they're years into their profession coming out of college, like they know after the first like 6 months, they knew that this wasn't what they wanted to do. So it's such an interesting topic to talk about, even peeling it back to high school, and like what you said, like the portrayal of there literally is nothing else other than college after this. But I don't know, what's your take on the last, like, and we'll steer back into your story, but like, looking at where the world is now with technology, with software, with sponsorships, partnerships, influencers, and different things like that. Where do you think college comes into play in like the next 5 to 10 years? You think what's your take? Do you think it'll actually be like that staple, or is it going to be like what are you going to use your platform for?
I definitely don't think it's going to be the same. I don't think so either. I don't think people our age and younger look at it the same way as our parents or anyone older.
No way.
And so, because I think people, it's like, what's your return on investment, 100%. And I think before it was like message to us like, oh, like go to college and you get, you get a job that will help you, or like, let me go back, go to college, take out loans, go to get a job that will help you pay off those loans. And then you'll have a stable life,
Exactly.
And what the story that actually happens a lot is you take out loans, a lot of loans, more than you thought. And then you get a job that's maybe not and then you're not passionate about it and you're not happy what you're doing. And then you're miserable, but you have enough just to start, just to survive. And then you kind of go down this, and then you're frustrated, so it's like this continuing cycle. And so I think things are just a lot different than they used to be. And I don't think that a college degree means what it used to be. Because I think especially with the internet, like I learned everything, or most things that I've done just off of YouTube, like plain and simple. And like there's so many free resources, or even like there's paid resources that are cheaper than college online that are so valuable. And I think that's going to be, I think people are like more open to that, and like more open to like, okay, looking at two people like, okay, this person has a certification, a degree, versus like this person has experience and is able to produce, XYZ. It's like, I think, before it would be like, oh, they don't even look at you if you don't have the degree. Straight up. Now it'll be, I think in the future it'll be, hey, like it's more of an even playing field. So it's like where I think that just there will be so many more opportunities for people.
Yeah, and to back that up, Roy, like I am that person that when people talk about they're looking at this and that and this and that, I am that person that looks at this and that.
You're the people that everyone has nightmares about.
That's what I'm saying. But thankfully for all of you, if you're applying to Audit Board,
there we go.
I actually take pride in looking at every single red.
He has a heart.
It's part of it.
It's a real one.
Does it take twice as long? Yes, but I take pride in it.
That's good. That's good to hear.
It's a lot more efficient now. It's a lot. The process of doing so is a lot more refined. I can pick out the red flags a lot quicker. But what I was gonna stem from this too was like Web3 and that coming to fruition, because it's here, bro.
No,
it's been here without it being labeled. Now they're starting to label it. But the reason I'm bringing that back to the university conversation, or just like humans going through our society and the norms of them that are shaped yet are being broken right now at the same time. It's like, in my opinion, where the world's going, like you said, the weight that a college degree has is decreased significantly.
Right.
And the experience, the skills, and the personality and the character you have is now going to be much more in the limelight. So the people that are actually doing the work to be the best their best selves, can't even talk. But the people that are doing that work, ensuring that their morals are in place, their principles are in place, their habits are benefiting them, that leads into those habits and those things, or that version of them actually benefiting everyone around them. Those types of people, I think, are actually going to be more valuable than your intellects, per se, right?
Yeah, no, I hear you saying.
Because of not just because of Web3, but I think because of the exposure now that every company, every business has. If you're not hitting those, if you're not hitting full, like your ethical decision making when it comes to the customer's experience, your internal employees, literally the entire business is now exposed to the world now. So people can't hide behind cutting corners around their customers and taking money here. And now it's becoming less popular to, do taxes outside of the country. Like there's a bunch of stuff, like the ethical side of it's changing. The business models are changing in that sense. So long story short, what I'm trying to say is, my son's 2 years old. 8 years from now, 10 years from now, I highly doubt even the school system will look the same.
Oh yeah,
I hope not, because I think it's the model's based off of us being in times where the only work was in factories and farms and things of that nature. But yet we're still in the same model. So like to me, it's like. I'm interested to see what God does with my son's life, like how that is going to unfold, and obviously going to be right alongside him through the whole thing. But
it's going to be nothing how we would have thought it would be.
I know.
That's like the one thing that we could like agree on, like
1,000%.
No one knows what it's going to be, or like how things are going to turn out, because when you bring up topics like Web3, it's such a new thing that people don't really like. Like right now, the biggest thing is like NFTs and cryptocurrencies and all these different things, which is like, it's people are getting exposed to it and it's like becoming more mainstream. But I think that's just going to continue to evolve, where it's going to be more continue to be adopted by the masses. And like the way that businesses, I think that it's going to get rid of a lot of middlemen. That were once like that would like, okay, like there's a service that does one business function from the customer to the business, and there's like this little middleman, like that's going to get rid of that middleman. And so people are going to be scrambling, and it gives more power to individuals and to be their own businesses and like all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And so it's like it's I think a lot of people are unsure, like especially business people, because it's like, oh, like everything, this is not how we've done it, and like,
it's true.
And other people are uncomfortable with that. And I think this new generation is, we're kind of more used to change and like more flexible with it.
Yeah.
And
we're a lot more inviting. We're
exactly.
Like, okay.
Like, yeah, it's like, okay,
sure.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
like,
we'll roll with the punches.
It's like, and then like new tech is not like, as intimidating,
Yeah.
it is what it is, like
it's almost exciting. To me, it is like when I see new things that come out that legit provide value, but it is technology based. Like, I mean, software in of itself is just advancing like it like never before, dude. Like my only concern is everything needs to have human touch to it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because there's a line.
There is, dude.
Because it gets
when you can't call a company and you can't call somebody. To me,
that's frustrating.
It's frustrating. It just doesn't seem like, is it real? I don't know. Like to me, it just it throws me off. Maybe that's just based on when we were, what we grew up into, right? But I'm not always a fan of like hitting a service up or a business and I have their AI agent.
Or someone picks up, but it's not.
Sometimes it works.
It's
like it'll get me to there, which is like fascinating in of itself. But like. I like to work out problems with human beings.
That's the thing. It's like, I think, I don't know, like that stuff creeps me out too. Like I think dealing with like
do the heebie-jeebies
I guess I'm like thinking about like these like iRobot and like all these crazy movies where like they take over. And so like, I don't know, like that like I kind of I pick and choose what I like interact with. Totally. And I kind of just watch from afar because stuff's going to happen, It's like,
have you touched VR at all?
Dude, actually, yeah. So, at our
Big Oculus guy or what?
At our work event, at a work event, I had
Clayton's a big. He's shaking his head over there.
Dude, I was so like against it before. I was like, oh, it's probably whack, whatever. Like,
yeah.
Try it.
I put it on.
No.
Right when I got into the lobby, I was like, oh shit,
Tripping.
bro. Like, it would look
I
so.
haven't tried it yet.
It was so real. Like, I mean, you know, it's fake, but it's like you're like okay with how like the level of like whatever. You just kind of accept it, and you're like
the.
You look at, I mean, just look around. Like, I think the lobby that I was at, it was like where you start. It was just like some kind of island, whatever. I'm just like looking around. I'm like, yo, I'm like, I'm here.
Matrix,
I'm like, I'm in this thing, you know. Like, let's just check it out. And so I start playing that like, you know, it's like a Guitar Hero, but it's the sword one.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All the commercials and stuff.
Oh, that was so fun. And I was like, dude, and I was like, da, 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 da. And then I did like, I started boxing Rocky. That was dope. That was dope.
Sylvester Stallone had nothing on the sauce.
I got my ass beat, but it was so funny.
How many rounds did he take you?
Oh my gosh, it was like 3 rounds done. I don't know. I was like, who put this on hard, dude? I got some moves. Wild. I got some hands, bro. What the hell?
See, the things I think about too, and I've kind of hijacked the idea from Gary V's, one of the people that have talked about it, just the VR space and NFTs and all the whole digital world in of itself is like, what's he talked about? It's like, oh my goodness.
One thing I know that like
the VR space and like how that will evolve as well, which is honestly pretty daunting to think about.
But like concerts are gonna be like VR, like
full experience though, dog.
Everything.
Like you're in your own pod, for instance. Like they've talked about stuff like this, bro.
You're
in your own pod, like the Matrix.
Watch Ready Player One. It's gonna be like that.
Ready Player One.
It's a movie. It's a movie, or it's a book and a movie. But
okay.
You have these suits. Everyone's in a suit. But it's like
exoskeleton ones.
Yeah, like you're just wearing like a suit, and then you're in this universe. You're playing as like, you know, you're fighting all these game, you know, all these like video game characters and stuff.
If I don't die, like in the Matrix, you know, if it's not like if I don't die in this virtual world, like I'd be okay with that. But
like I don't know.
It's like, how do you even?
There's a Black Mirror about that for sure.
See, that's what I'm saying. We're touching into like this dimension that nobody knows about.
But I mean, it's definitely like all this stuff that we think that could never happen. I think that it might, you know, like there's like possibility for it with technology, but I think the exciting stuff.
She's crazy.
I mean, you can like, yeah, like there's crazy stuff, but
I mean, think about where our minds go, right? And we're not software engineers, right, or engineers that can us collectively with the team can put together yet. But like for instance, like to put something together, think about the things that they're thinking about, bro. If we're thinking about this,
they're like,
this is
they're
surface.
like, just wait.
Bro, like they're so far ahead. So, like I said, it's a, you know, not to get too far off topic with this, but it's such an interesting topic because it's here. It's you know,
there's definitely
dogging.
a TikTok clip in there for sure.
Yeah, bro.
But what I was gonna say, what I was thinking about was the biggest thing that I think about with like that topic of like, I guess my last thought on it was is like, it's exciting because I think that it opens up the like what once was what once wasn't attainable for like a regular person. I think the playing field is being leveled, and like people are able to like have an idea, and you with technology that's out nowadays, like they can just, you know, build hype around it and make, you know, be millionaires, and like, you know, and it's not that simple, but like it's just
a lot of those guys are faking it, but
I mean, yeah, but like at the end of the day, it's like, hey, work the system, and you
Yeah.
know, if it's, you know, it's like, hey, like I don't hate, you know, as long as you're not doing anything like that's not ethical, you know,
Yeah.
that's
no, I agree.
if people are willing to buy into it, whatever. But
and that's who I think who's gonna win. Just to double back on your point here, it's like I think the people that are, like I said a little bit earlier, the ones that are doing it right, bro, providing these values in whatever way they are, whether it is digital, in person, doesn't matter. You know, I truly believe in the long run, as we get more transparent in the world, because that's where it's been going, bro. We've been getting more transparent, not necessarily certain areas, but for business specifically. It's definitely getting more transparent. It's more invited. People don't like companies that don't have certain processes set up for their customer experience. The whole journey, something that you pride yourself on and that I respect a lot about what you do in your business, is bringing the customer through this journey, this experience, when they are associated to your name, your brand in any way. If they're touching anything about you, like, bro, that needs to be high quality, highly ethical. Processes are established. But yeah, I really do think that the businesses, the organizations, nonprofits, whoever it is, anybody that's doing anything, and it's been proven over time, they're doing it the right way, they're doing it with the right intention, they're going to win in the long term.
I agree.
And, we're hoping that more companies are, we've seen them, especially through COVID, like those types of companies, they got ran down,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, one thing I did want to talk about, because I know you have some info on it, or at least just have dabbled in NFTs, and you brought it up too. All right,
perfect timing on
perfect
a
timing.
break.
I know, yeah, exactly. To capture your interest even more, it's the video's already off because I did the timer late, but nonetheless, if you are here, you have jumped over from YouTube over to full audio.
There we go. Now we're gonna really bring it.
That's it, baby, and we're about to hop into a hot topic. Which is NFTs. If you're not familiar, I am also not as familiar, but I do know they stand for non-fungible tokens. The space is blowing up. It's getting really popular, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts around it. How did you hear about NFTs originally?
I follow a lot of from social,
Yeah,
I follow
totally.
a lot of people who are into it, and
Just random feeds.
Yeah, and at first, you see those pictures of the crazy monkeys and the crypto punks and all these different hyped ones, and you're like, oh, what the heck is that? And
Totally,
it's the level there's this level of confusion. It's what's all this hype about these little images? I can make that,
Right.
and it's kind of funny because it's that's the point, because. And I guess I'll explain that, but
I know what you mean though.
But
I know exactly
after
what you're
you get it,
about.
it's that's what and it's
bro, we need
well, I'll explain
40 hours.
If
I could give myself 40 hours of time to learn it, I think I'd be well versed.
I think it's, and I don't think it's as difficult, or I don't think it's as complicated as we make it though. But I'm not, and this is me not. I'm not an expert, but what it is, the way I understand it is, a non-fungible token is basically it's something that's one of a kind, right? And so, and the technology behind that is called blockchain technology. Okay?
Yeah.
So what that does, it just makes when you mint something, and that's the process of making it one of a kind.
Okay.
So you have an image, and someone creates it, and they mint it, and now it's one of one. And so now when it's out in the marketplace, right, and it has, the creator can set a certain value to it to say, hey, I think this is worth X amount of Ethereum, right? You can say 1 Ethereum.
Yeah. And
then, people can, you can put it out on the marketplace and people can, buy it, and they say, yeah, actually, I think that's worth that, And so one person thinks it's worth that. And then,
you said they bid.
Yeah. And people can bid, and they can the value can go up. And then, other people can own it, but when you own it, it's one of a kind, right? And that's the value of it, because no one else can have the exact, value of it because or the exact property of it because it's minted, right?
It originated from you.
Exactly. And
minted from you.
The way that you track that is through technology, through the blockchain technology.
Got it.
It has a special snippet of code on it.
Do they have, what's the platform that people in the space go to?
So there's a couple. The one I'm familiar with is called OpenSea. And so there you can once you make your own crypto wallet, which is its own thing, but it's not that hard, really.
Do you have one?
I do.
Do you?
I haven't purchased any NFTs or dabbled with it too much.
Yeah.
Mainly because I'm trying to get married, so I'm
priorities.
I'm trying to budget right now.
I think your wife be happy with that, by the way.
That's so funny. Yeah, but right, I see other people, but
you took the first step though.
Yeah, and I made one because I'm like, hey, you know what? This is probably gonna I know this is gonna be something in the future
for sure.
And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just create one and see what happens. Maybe I'll buy one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the marketplace, there's a bunch of different ones, right? Well, OpenSea is a really popular one. But basically, the people who create these NFTs, they market them and they hype them up. They say like we were talking about earlier, oh, a celebrity just bought this one, right?
Yeah.
So if you have, say, a celebrity just bought this picture of a guitar, right? And then and they have like that specific kind of guitar. But then there's like another one in the collection. You're like, oh, dude, Lil Wayne has this one. Like, if I buy one like that too, like I want one in his collection because, like, dude, the value of it just went up a bunch, you know. So if I have it, I'm gonna be, I have a legit thing.
Yeah.
And then because it's one of one, right? It's like for example, people use it for events. They use it as tickets. So since they can accredit that it's one of one through the blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Now they can say, oh, right, you do own this picture of a guitar. Here, come to this exclusive VIP event.
Wow.
And because that's what trumps the argument of someone's like, oh, I can just take a screenshot of it. Right. So yeah, you give just a picture of a guitar. Yeah, like that's just anyone can make a guitar or a picture of a guitar, but you don't have the validity like that comes with the it getting minted. And
the validity comes through say how people scan tickets live, right?
Yep.
When you're in person. This how do they? What's the validation process? Are you familiar with it?
So I don't know exactly, but it's the way blockchain works is it's there's a series of numbers and letters that are come together, right? And it's on one part of the chain. So say this NFT gets bought from one person and sold to another person. It has that whole history of the transaction. It's all connected to that block.
That block, yeah.
Exactly. You can think of it like that. And so it's like it's all linked together, right? So you can track back to make sure if someone tries to make a duplicate, they can't because the history is all there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it makes it very difficult to do.
So like say the event, and this is just to see if you know because I have no idea, but like say the event holder, right? Like the promoter, they're validating these blocks that people are providing to get into this event, for instance. Do you know how that process works?
You know what? I don't know exactly, but I want to. Like
it's super interesting, right?
It is because
they'll have their histories somewhere, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, so
that's kind of where I'm thinking.
The way that they check it, it's to your crypto wallet.
Okay, so that's where it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like you have it like it's connected to, and I think it's through your MetaMask account. So like there's different. I think there's different ones, but I had to create this like MetaMask account that's like connected to me, and it's this long code that's like just connected to me, and I have the password. It's like this series of 18 phrases, whatever.
Interesting.
And so it's like it's like it's very tailored to you, to the person, so like no one else can pretend that they're you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you show them, hey, look it, this is my account, and look it, this account verifies that I own this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, then therefore it's like, okay, come in.
Gotcha. It's so fascinating, man. I don't remember. Kind of similar to you. Like I heard about it on social. Gary Vee has been talking about it probably since early 2020 or like mid 2020.
Yeah, like
he started talking about it. Like he started Gary Vee and Friends. If you guys follow Gary Vaynerchuk, or if you do not, go check him out. The guy's an absolute legend, without a doubt. Business mogul, entrepreneurial mogul, motivation mogul, you name it. NFT mogul now, at least,
get him on the pod. Get him on the pod.
Who says we can, man?
Or
I'd love to go fly out to New York and go say hi to Gary and his big ass tower. We're speaking
into in existence.
Right?
There you go.
Down. We'll do it. I also want to interview Andy Frisella because he helped change my life too.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But
that'd be awesome.
But he was talking about it, and he has this thing called Gary Vee and Friends.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything with it for a while, but he started the process, right? He got the Instagram thing, did that, and just has continued to build it. Like, he drew his own pictures. He's actually a pretty good artist, Gary. You're not too bad. But he actually, he drew like a motivational cow.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, that's his NFT. But he's been building it out, and that's where I initially heard about it. And then I've been really just following his word as he's been like doing more interviews with people, and he has his own community with NFT now through Gary Vee and Friends.
Yeah.
So it's just been super interesting. So anyone that like has more information on it than I do, I always like bouncing ideas and thoughts.
The way I see it, like and so kind of the stuff like we were talking about with like events and using the
like music, like
using blockchain technology as a utility. I think that's going to be the next step, or like I think that's the future of it. Like using that like one of one, like being able to verify that is like that's going to be like a very big. I think it's going to be a huge thing in the future, because
I agree, bro.
There's a lot of fun stuff you can do, like merch, like okay, like you know, only people who own this our collection of NFTs can get this stuff, or like you know, or we're releasing a new pack, you know, so we're gonna expand our community, you know, and it's like, all right, you know, exclusive Discord groups, like people love exclusivity, you know, it's like being a part of the club, a part of an exclusive access to your favorite people, all that kind of stuff. So there's lots of different expressions of that now, but I think it's like the next level, you know, of how things are going to be. So
I agree.
I don't know,
in
like
the digital space,
I am very fascinated by it. Like one of my goals this year is to learn one of the languages to do smart contracts, which what that is, it's kind of like it's kind of similar. It has to do with like blockchain technology of like the, you know, verifying one of one person. I don't even know a lot about it yet, but there's a language called Solidity. It's a coding language.
Gotcha.
And I want to learn that because I'm like, oh, I want to make smart contracts and then just try doing stuff with my business and like just playing around. Like that's what people are doing. Like, you know,
that's what it sounds like.
Like, and you're just figuring out like how you can use it for yourself. So that's the plan.
That's what's up. What's up. Well, thanks for sharing with us about NFTs.
That was the tech corner right there.
Yeah, that was. We had to do a little segment there because it's important. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, why not at least have some information on it?
Well, it's like
I have a good idea. I mean, like you said, like you feel pretty confident it's going to be a thing. I know it's going to be a thing for sure. The matter of its sustainability, I have no idea.
We'll see. I guess we'll just see.
Because our country's not built on cryptocurrency.
Not yet.
Or,
never know.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
it's just early. It's just early. Like
it is very early, but nonetheless, to kind of swoop this thing back into the Saucedo land.
Yeah. I knew we'd make it back eventually, but
rough waters. You know, unfortunately, coming to an end. Yet opening a new chapter for you.
Yeah.
Where did that take you next?
So then I was at this, you know, crossroads of like, okay, am I going to be, because I love helping out at church, working in the church, especially working with youth. I was like, okay, am I going to become a pastor? Like go down that road of like, you know, going back to school and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or I was like, either go that way or follow my, you know, creative inkling of like all the different stuff that I want to do. Cause I was just curious, you know? And
do you think that's where it came from? Like, just innately, like just innate curiosity to get into tech, or just like the digital like creation.
I think that's like the biggest thing of my story, and it's funny. Like this past summer, I went to South Dakota for Sturgis, the motorcycle, Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
And so we were staying with this one of the owners of the company that I was working with.
Yes.
His friend. And his friend is this multi-millionaire, like super humble guy, like awesome person.
We love to see it.
Yeah, he's a really, really cool guy. He was very hospitable, and we're at his house. He's, you know, he has this man cave with all these vintage cars. We're just talking there, and tight. We're just picking his brain like on all the
South Dakoters.
Dude, South Dakota is, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. But it was so he's talking about his life, and he's just like, we're picking his brain. He's like, the biggest thing that has made me successful and like that's made me enjoy my life is following my curiosity. And that really stuck with me.
Wow,
dude.
I love that.
I literally wrote him a letter.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like thank you so much, because that.
Say that again. What did he say?
He's like, the biggest thing that's the biggest thing that's helped me be successful in my life and that's made me the most happy is following my curiosity. And I was like, wow,
I needed to hear that too.
That's so true. And the reason, and so this kind of connects with everything that we've been talking about, is because when you're young and you don't know what you want to do, but you have these inklings, it's like you need to follow that, because if you don't, you'll always wonder why or what if, and you regret. And so it's like, that's a big reason to come back to my story. It was like, I was like, I need to explore this, and I need to do what I need to. I was like, I don't know a lot yet, but I know, I trust myself. I know I can learn stuff. And so I was like, I got to follow this path. And so
love that.
I transitioned out of the church of like, you know, of working there I still volunteered and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Still plugged into the cause.
yeah, man. So it's cool, and that's like that place has been so huge because it's like a huge support system. People,
Great people, man.
They
I've been
believe
there
in
a
me.
few times.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
a great church.
That's the thing about like just having community, having whether it's church or whatever it's whatever people choose. It's like having that like support system is huge. Just like
it hits different, bro.
Oh my gosh! And so
because you got prayer warriors,
dude, and it's like, yeah, no,
literally,
especially like we were talking about like with my mom, like, dude, like she was, I said the word to one person, they're like, hey, is it cool if I let so and so know? Dude, I literally there was like hundreds of people,
dude, that's
like
what I'm saying,
praying for my mom. It was like crazy,
dude, and then what?
Dude, and she got like she got better. She's on the road to get better. So it's like
that's because Jesus' name has power.
Oh my gosh, it's so like whenever I get like, because whenever you get a little bit of success in your life, you feel like you kind of feel like confident in yourself, and you're like, oh, I did a little something. Totally. It's like I always think back of like, man, like I know for a fact God put me in this position, and God like set me on this path.
Yeah.
And so it's like whenever, especially right now, like I'm like I took a break in December just because of all this family stuff from doing business, like taking on any new projects. And God literally started bringing like, I got hit up by so many people this past month just asking for projects. And I was like, what the heck? Like I'm not even doing anything. Like I don't even do any outreach. And like, I'm not even kidding, bro. Like 5 different sites, 5 different types of projects. Like, and after a period of like nothing, not gonna lie, like there was a couple dry months. I was just like, dude, this, and it's just incredible. And like, I'm like, dude, it's God. Like, and it's just from one person to another. It's just like, like you hitting me up with your friend, and like I haven't hit him up because I've just been busy. But like, I'm like, dude, that's like out of the blue. You know what I mean? So it's like, and there's a couple different stories like that. But we're just saying like what I was talking about was just that idea of following your curiosity.
Yeah, I'm really thank you for sharing that with me, bro, because this year God put it on my heart to get curious.
Hey,
I'm not kidding. Those 2 words came to mind.
That's interesting.
It was actually before the new year started, but I do a lot of proactive thinking myself. And during that proactive thinking, it was at least that's what I like to title it. But that's what came to mind. So I'm really glad you say that, because yes, I need to get more curious, but I need to follow the curiosity as well, because a lot of the time it's ended up in places like this, doing things like I never thought I would really do at this time in my life, with the events that go on in my life and type of life that I have. So to any of you that are out there, obviously there's a lot of hype around new year, new goals, new me, that and the third. If you follow me, I talk about it all the time. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for the right time. There's never going to be a right time. There's always going to be birthdays. There's going to be events. There's going to be sickness. There's going to be this, that, and the third. There are situations, that we have to pull back and make, the best decisions for us, our family, our health. But at the end of the day, it's go time. There's no other time than right now, especially during a time where most people are either shying away from the problems they have because of what's going on in this world, which is nothing to downplay by any means.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're going through, I've talked about this before, but this is just one of the most unique times in human history, and such an opportunity, if you look at it in that way, to leverage the playing field, because it has completely shifted. It has shifted, in my perspective, it's shifted from going with the flow to there is no flow anymore.
Oh, it's such a mind, like everyone.
If you're not doing it,
everyone shook.
Everyone will know.
Oh yeah.
And not that everyone will know. You will know more than anything. People closest to you will know it. So what I'm trying to get to is get curious about yourself. If you don't know where you're at right now in your life, you're confused, you're scared, you have a lot of fear about certain things, but you have, like Roy said, the inclines?
The inkling?
The inklings, like that feeling, that gut
little
feeling
tug
that you have. Trust it, believe in it, ride with it, and don't put all your eggs in one basket, man. explore yourself first and foremost. Explore those things. Put the first step forward. Put some action behind it. Take lofty and big goals and break them down into yearly, monthly, weekly, daily goals. Peel back the layers and get after it, man. Just wanted to plug that piece in because that fired me up. Follow your curiosities.
Honestly, yeah, that's huge.
And going speaking going back to your journey and getting to where you are right now. You said you were kind of expanding outside of the church now.
Yeah. So this part of the story, it's like, it was kind of just exploring the marketing world, like business world. I had no idea. It's so funny looking back. I thought coming out of college, it's like, interviewing for all these jobs, I was like, I know marketing, I know business, like how hard could it be?
Right.
And it's like, I remember when I landed my first job, it was at an ad agency over here in Tustin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why did they hire me? Like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing right now. Like, they remember, they're like, okay, because this is a small place, so they're like, okay, you can just do run the email marketing for these couple of brands, and can you run some just do the social media for these couple of brands, and then do can you write some ads for that we're gonna use for Facebook and Google.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do it, and then looking back at the stuff that I made, I'm like, this is crap. Like, what the heck am I doing? And it's just like, I just and it's what's awesome is that I was naive enough to just kind of go for it. I'm like, what's the kind of what's the worst that can happen? Just get I'll get fired and whatever. Like, that's the kind of thought that goes through my head.
I'll just get fired.
Yeah, like whatever. And that's so. I mean, it wasn't that casual, but
No,
it was at the time. It was just like, whatever. I'm just gonna try my best, see what happens. I don't know any better.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of got thrown into the fire. Was doing some little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much did everything when it comes to digital marketing. And so I kind of specialized. I was an account manager, so I would, interact with the clients.
Yeah.
And then I would do social media management. Then I would do email marketing. Then I would do a lot of copywriting. And then a little bit of graphic, everything. You know what I mean?
That's great experience.
Oh, it was awesome. And that's like God put me in this place.
A lot of cylinders of the business,
Dude. And even I got a chance to launch a restaurant, manage their whole grand opening. And so it was it was super cool.
That's a cool project. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to go and be there for the day of, and a million people went there. I'm just kidding, but no, but it was a cool experience. I just got to, I'm there like a 20-year-old kid talking to this business owner, like, hey, yeah, so here's what we're gonna do.
Exactly, dude.
I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But you just kind of it's not like you fake it till you make it, but you just have confidence, and just because it's a big thing that I'm still dealing with, but a lot of people deal with is imposter syndrome. It's
no doubt.
And that's the feeling of not belong, you don't belong here, you're not qualified, all those kind of negative thoughts that come into your mind, and it's
they're not real.
Oh, it's so stupid because every time I feel like I've defied that, and I prove to myself that I am capable, or you fail and then you learn from it, and then it's okay, so you learn from it, now the next time, so then you're becoming less of an imposter. But
it's facts. But the thoughts, I mean, they eat at me. I mean, I'm always transparent. I mean, they eat at me. I think most people too, that well, one thing I deal with is my privacy. I fight for my privacy a lot of the time. But when God's calling you to do the opposite of that, your thoughts go places, and then for me, I deal with that a lot, and it's and I'm transparent to everybody that follows me and talks to me, bro, I'm not a multi-million-dollar business mogul or entrepreneur, but I also don't portray myself to be one, you know? But I think that's the difference between people that are just being real and kind of what we're talking about before, the people that are hopping on the coach train, for instance, hey, I'm gonna be a coach, yet
have you done it before?
This guy that's coaching you, he's never done what you're trying to do, so why does that make sense? But that type of stuff is it will come into my mind, bro, you're and I know that's the different, that's like the skill that you can harness and work towards is defining the voices that are in your head and understanding where they're coming from. And now I have a lot more control over those that voice, specifically the imposter, or like,
yeah,
you're not doing this, you're not doing that.
Who do you
like,
think you are? Like,
exactly, bro. And it's really strange that they come in when, like, you're on this journey of like, oh, I want to impact people, or like, I want to impact people's businesses, change their business, like, these like thoughts come in your head. It's like, what? I always fall back on God to get out of those types of mindsets, and different things. But
I think the biggest way to combat that, at least that I found, is like, as one is being honest with yourself, and like and what I mean by that is by, like, not trying to be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And like owning that,
Yeah.
and being like being okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And because when you're honest and when you have integrity about it, when you're not like trying to put up a front,
Yeah.
people respect that.
Mm-hmm.
And they, like, a lot of times, because people are really good at seeing through, phonies.
Totally.
And if they don't at the first time they meet you, they'll figure it out the second time.
No doubt.
And so when you are being yourself, you have nothing to worry about because you're not hiding anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so as throughout the process, you don't overpromise, right? You're just, or like, you're not being anything that you're not. You're saying, hey, this is what I'm capable of doing. And, you just kind of, you can fall back on that as you go. But like,
and I feel like it builds your confidence, like going back to what you were
exactly
talking about, right? Like having that, it's not an arrogant confidence, but it's a confidence in knowing that you've done the work to get to the confidence stage that you're at now.
Exactly.
And that confidence doesn't mean like, dude, everything I'm going to say is going to work the way that I want it to. Like, well, that's not the confidence we're talking about. It's the innate confidence of, I know what my abilities and skills are, and maybe there's a task in front of me that I know maybe those skills and are going to challenge me in that.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with taking that challenge and being okay failing if it doesn't go the way I planned, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just different. It's a different approach to it, and that's going to what you're talking about too. Like, that definitely helps me. And honestly, the thing that helps me the most, bro, is doing the work.
Yeah.
Doing the work on myself, the mental work, the spiritual work, the physical work, all of, like, for me and how my DNA works, bro. If I'm not doing those things, those imposter voices it heightens so much, bro. It's like, which makes sense, right? Like, you're not living it. Like, why are you talking?
You're giving
about
it ammo,
I'm giving it ammo. So, those are battles that I go through. Happy to share. I know a lot of people go through them in their own ways, but I just think it's so important that people understand that ability to go do things that are uncomfortable to you is by doing them, putting yourself in positions to like what you did, bro. Like, you're such a good example of it, of just taking the leap and not focusing on, am I going to be able to do this the way that I know, like, I think I know I can.
Yeah. That
thought no longer exists anymore. It's more or less of like, I know I'm going to do this. Now, the outcome, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't ever know.
But, let me set it up this way so I can get feedback from this person to, you know what I mean? Like, you just, these things start to unravel where you really optimize. You become more optimal in your movements and your decisions and the conversations you have, and it all just stems though from doing that work, taking those uncomfortable steps, putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions. And we talk about it all the time on the show. Dude, how beneficial it is.
I think we as people are so, especially now, I think we're so short-term thinking. Mm-hmm. That I think that we get sick of, like, we get frustrated when we don't see immediate results. And it's such a, how do you say, like, you're shooting yourself in the foot by thinking like that, because, if you don't have the reps, obviously you're not going to be good. If you don't have the experience, and how could you expect you to hit a home run every, the first pitch every time, it's like, if you ask a baseball player that, are you hitting a home run every time? Like, they think you're crazy, right? But sometimes we think, like, with other things that we do, it's like, oh yeah, the first song I'm gonna make is gonna be a hit. Right. The first website I'm gonna make is gonna be the best website ever. Like, exactly. All these different kinds of things.
Expectations are so high, right?
And it's like, yeah, like, you want to have a high standard for yourself, of course.
Yeah, super.
But it's like having the perspective on yourself and on the situation of like saying, hey, this is where I'm at right now. Like I've just started this, and hey, I'm doing it. I'm getting better, and being like okay with that.
Totally.
And then, but with the understanding of like, hey, give me a year and see where I'll be. You know what I mean? Having that confidence and like, because
sweat equity, baby.
Oh my gosh, because like I started making websites, like really like getting into it last year in May.
That's right. Yeah.
Like in May is when I graduated.
You got your certificate
for the like the UX design certificate, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go full time freelance and like all this kind of stuff.
Hell yeah.
And so it's like boom. And did I know how to do everything? No, I didn't. But I was like, you know what, I know I can do enough to make some money. You know,
and learn.
And learn. And so it's like, but. And the reason I say like that perspective on the situation is like, because you know, at the end of the year, it's like the perfect time to, you know, look back and like think how far you've come. And it's really awesome to have that feeling of like, one, I know I'm not where I want to be, but also having that like you know, give yourself that little pat on the back of like, hey, look, I put the work in, and like look where I've come and I'm here, you know. And like understanding like, hey, okay, like give me another year, like look where I'll be, you know what I mean? Give me another, like there's people who have been in the game for like 10 plus years, you know, whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
And like they're at a certain level. It's like, dude, imagine when you're at that level, like, you know, have that kind of patience, but also it's like discipline of like, hey, I need to stick at this to see where it's going to go. And that connects back to your following your curiosity. Because if you don't see it all the way through, if you don't put the time in, you're going to be you're not going to be satisfied because you left something on the table.
I agree, bro. I loved everything you just said. I love every piece of it, and I don't even know if it's an addition or not, but like my whole take on like on life and how I live it, and what I always like to resort back to is just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get trapped, especially in busy season. Like, bro, I'm slammed right now, work-wise. You know, we have a lot of stuff going on. It's exciting. It's really exciting, but it can be daunting at times and hard to break down, you know, and peel back the layers on all the things that you have going on. But it always really pulls me back to center to just enjoy it. And it's hard, man. Like life is life, bro. We have death, we have sickness, we have pain, you know, we have financial loss, we have issues. You know, we all got issues, bro. No matter who it is, like there are issues going on constantly. It does not end. If you think it ends, it doesn't. You're not living in reality. It's not. That's not how it works. But for you, like for me, it works so well to step back and just try to enjoy it. And when I say enjoy it, it's not like, hey, like when you know your sister has a sickness, or like your mom has a sickness. Like you're not trying to enjoy that. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. It's just, if you want to switch it for enjoy to embracing, like just embracing the sole fact that you are alive, you got chosen to be alive out of odds that are impossible odds, and you get to be in this moment. So how do you embrace it? My number one is always going back to just being grateful, having gratitude in my heart, you know, thanking Jesus for this life, for the relationship I have with him, for my son, my family, you know, and resorting to those things, because bro, it works every single time. And dude, it's you know, and this is not a band-aid type process, guys. Like this is part of you growing as a human, because innately a lot of the times as humans we want to either, you know, cast our problems onto other people, or to cast them on ourselves, or to cast other people's problems onto us, and this, that, and the third. And a lot of the time, you know, we drain our energy and our time by outside energies, outside factors, outside forces that drive away from who we are and who we can be, and who we can be for other people. But long-winded, you know, just embracing what you have right now. You know, the last however many minutes that we've been speaking, we'll never get back again, you know. And like for me, it's when I peel that back, because it's so simple, yet it works. It's a process that works, and you know, you be intentional with it. And over time, as you resort back to it, because it's a habit, right? Like, it's a mental habit of like, okay, when I get into this type of form of emotion, or this, like, things happen in my life, I know what to resort back to, so that my emotions are no longer controlling me. Events no longer control me. I am in control of my own. And when you have that power and that control, it builds that confidence, and it allows you to live your life a little bit with more freedom and adaptability, and also sustainability, because you're no longer allowing outside forces, or strictly something like your emotions control your decisions that end up leading into like what your life looks like. So it's just, for me, that's something that works. It's definitely not my own process that I created by any means, but it definitely works. And if that's something that, like, for me, dude, that is a refined skill that I have to continue to put work into, or it falls away. It's the same thing with like my eating habits. Like, it could be gone in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I can gain 20, like, I could easily gain 20-25 pounds, bro, in 3 weeks if I eat how like that version of me wants to. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, I tried to keep that MFer exactly where he's at, so he never comes to fruition again. But yeah, I mean, that was a long-winded version of it, but I just think it's I like to keep things simple and not overcomplicate it. And when you peel back the layers of all the things that we all have going on, at the end of the day, like, all we really have is us and God, if you believe in it. But for the general, you have you. And at the end of the day, if you can't control outside factors, my suggestion to you, my friends, would to look inward, spend time inward, and you'll see that all the things around you start to heighten, and your ability to not control things, but control yourself through all of what's going on in life. You're going to be a lot more at peace with the decisions you make, where you're at with things, where you're at with life, the things that are happening, and it'll give you more time to put back into the things that you love, the people that you love, rather than spending meaningless headspace spinning wheels around the problems that you have, the problems that you see on reality TV and like these things, right? But unfortunately, our society is molding it in that way where we don't talk about these things. It's not talked about all the time. You have to go find it on a podcast, right? Like, it's not on your general TV and stuff like that. So like, our society and whoever's calling those plays, they want you to eat saturated fats, complex sugars. They want you eating bad. There's a reason why.
Well, it tastes good.
It tastes good. There's, like, you name it. Like, you go from the food, the beverages, the alcohol consumption, the amount of prescriptions that are taken in this country. I mean,
the list goes on.
What would happen if the agenda was getting more sunlight, more movement, more sleep, better foods that taste bomb?
Yeah, but
they taste phenomenal. They look like dishes you'll get at Olive Garden, yet when you eat it, your body breaks it down the way that it needs to. Like, what if we spent for 2 quarters, bro, half a year, and we put that agenda in front of whoever these power-seeking mongers are, and what would that do to our society, our communities that are so set and in this like non-ending cycle of societal boundaries? What would happen if we focus on those things? To me, I think it would change lives. It would get people off their ace, get moving, and understanding the importance behind it, rather than it being like a it's like this whole build up to like going to your doctor and like stepping on the scale, and your doctor's telling you, hey man, like, you know what I mean? So for me, like, those are the things that I drive with the people around me, my family, and I see the results of it. Like, people want it. At the end of the day, like, if you're listening to this and yet like maybe you're one to say, oh, I'm happy with how I look, bro, I've been 340 pounds. You don't. Most people don't want to be like overweight, or like if they are having mental issues, they don't want to have those issues anymore. But what's crazy is it's not talked about of how you can get out of that.
Right.
And the way that God has designed us, it's inward. The work that is needed for you to get to that place is inward. It is all inside of you. And when people start to understand that, and they understand that to get to that place, it's following really simple things. Getting great sleep. Your thinking is a lot more positive. You have well thinking in your life. You're drinking water constantly.
Like simple things.
Simple things, but you do that every day, compound that, your life will change in front of your eyes. You start moving 30 minutes a day, like getting 6,000, 8,000, close to 10,000 steps a day, but you do that every day, your belt loops are gonna go down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna make better sound decisions in your life. You're not gonna have the clutter in your mind, the fogginess that's in your mind. It's incredible when you detox your life. Like, after I went through 75 hard, it was really when I experienced a detox of like my life, detoxing every freaking habit I had and getting rid of it for a substantial amount of time, and replacing them with beneficial habits that literally give you life. It's wild to see the brain and how it works with each new day. It completely evolves. And even when you step away from it, and it's not as like, say my habits aren't as tight as like 75 hard are, right? Like, I'm compromising here, and I'll have a beer at dinner here, and I'll eat this because like my mom made it, and like, you know what I'm saying, like those little things. But over time, I've noticed, like, dude, just those little compromises, everything matters, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want more people to understand that they could literally change their life around in a matter of 2.5 months if you focus on simple habits that you can implement into your life. And then with that simple foundation, you can literally create Mount Everest with each bucket in your life.
Huge like, momentum.
It so is, and that's the journey I'm on right now, and I know it's a very long one, and I've accepted that, and I've stopped looking at like, I'm 25, like there's just a lot of life in front of me. My son's 2 years old already. Like, wow, like there's just. But when you look at it at the grandiose, like, you're gonna get overwhelmed. It's gonna seem daunting. You're gonna always seem like you need more money. You're always gonna seem like you need this, and you're always gonna need this. But when you really truly step back and just constantly, like, dude, it's like it's a habit now for me. Like, as soon as I start, oh man, like this and that, and like I had that meal, and like whatever it is, it's like, stop. Where are you at right now? Is your heart beating? Are you breathing? Do you have your things? You got clothes on your back? A lot of the time, we don't, as Americans, we don't even understand how rich we really are. Even some of the poorest people in our country are in some of the top percentages of wealth in the world, which is something almost insane to think about. Our homeless people have it better off than some people that have homes in other countries. So it's just one of those things, guys. The way that you view the world is the way that you view yourself. Well, no, sorry. The way that you're viewing the world can really hurt you, or it can help you a lot. And when I say the world, it's like the events that go on in your life, that transpire, the things that go on around you, the path that you choose, and whatnot. But nonetheless, guys, to turn this back to Saucedo, and having Sauce Studios now, I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but Roy was a blessing to me and my uncle, who are running Mr. Lava Hot Sauce. We were in need of some talent, and our boy came through.
Know who to call.
Yeah, we did. Through the grace of God, and Austin being friends with Roy, and Roy just being a good man, and in of itself, he helped us out and helped us tremendously. And you're just a beast at what you do, man.
Thank you, man.
But I'm excited for all that's what's to come for Sauce Studios. And
Yeah,
you know,
man.
what I know, like when I think of Roy, I always think, like when I think of you, bro, I always think of this guy's constantly learning. He's constantly
That's
trying
awesome to
to
hear,
find
man.
different ways to
Appreciate that.
evolve. And I respect it. And there's a reason why you're on this show is because not everyone does these things. And I don't look at it from, oh, he's in the digital space and he does this and that. No one does that. Like, no, it's more or less of doing the actions and following your curiosity. Those are the things that I respect a lot, because in the societal boundaries and barriers that we have and things like that, a lot of the people are sheep in this world. And for you doing the opposite of that, it's awesome to see, and awesome to partner up with you. And you know, we got lots of projects this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, bro.
That'll come up, and a big year for you getting married. And you know, there's just more life. There's more life ahead. A lot of really exciting things to come. So, without further ado, go check the boy Roy out.
There we go.
If you want to plug him one more time with the socials, we'll have him down in the description as always. But
So, everywhere,
for that plug,
it'll be Roy A. Saucedo. That's my name.
yeah,
On Instagram, Twitter, and that's mainly where I hang out. And then website, saucestudios.co. Find us there, find me there. And then man, I just want to thank you. This has been fun. I was a little bit nervous coming in, and I was like, I don't know how it's gonna be, but this is awesome, bro. And so hopefully this was helpful for anyone out there.
for sure.
And so feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And man, I'll
That's
let you.
it, man. Well, this won't be the last one, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And we'll get some things going. I'm excited for this, guys. So, just to kind of close this thing out, you know, we got a lot of really exciting things going on for OCVO. You know, we've been able to set up a lot of processes, you know, talking about just like getting things going and diving head first. Like, I've never done a podcast. I've never put things together like this. And it's taken a lot of really awesome people to help get it to where it is today. And shout out to all of you guys. But, you know, we're just going to be constantly evolving here, figuring out different ways to get you guys messages and content from, you know, people, whether it's myself or other guests that I bring on the show that are friends of mine, business partners, you know, business owners, etc. You know, to help provide value to you guys in any way possible. I want you guys to live the best life that you can be the best version of yourself that you want to be, because at the end of the day, man, that is what truly allows you to be an impact, which is what we've been designed to be in this world. We're not built to be alone. We're not built to be sheltered. We're not built to or be designed to keep our creativities and our innovativeness and our ideas and thoughts inside. So continue to get active, drink your water, eat well, sleep well, think well, take care of each other, love yourself, and love yourself by doing the work. So as always, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, following the journey. It's your boy Makai Louie, aka Mac, and this is Orange County's very own. Without further ado, peace out.